All right, welcome everyone. This is episode 22 of the Spotters Podcast. Tonight's guest is going to be Preston Monoc. Hey, there you are. Welcome back. All right, Preston. So we were talking about our top five, and you have pretty much the same lineup as I do. I'm going to let you go first. Tell me about your top five, starting from the 5 to number 1 spot.
Yeah, so the top five for me, and the things I think about as far as the list and the qualifiers is like, what type of aircraft really kind of set a trend on manufacturing, set records, the versatility, and just overall iconicness. I'll start with, I have three honorable mentions. I had the F-14. Again, that aircraft was in Top Gun. It had a whole generation of pilots that came just because of that aircraft. And then after that, I had the P-51. Again, an iconic aircraft that flew in World War II. The sound of it just is one sexy looking aircraft. Another honorable mention is the F-117. Again, that was like the first dedicated stealth platform. I mean, you could argue about the SR-71 being, the first, but that was like the dedicated, like, this is the only thing it has to survive is stealth. And so I think that was really awesome. But my actual top five, starting from number 5 and working my way up to number 1. Number 5, I had the C-130 Hercules. It's got the longest manufacturing line of like any aircraft. It holds the record for an active assembly line, and they still make those aircraft to this day. And I think like just being able to capture somebody, from the ground while the airplane is still flying is like insane. That it has that capability. You have the AC-130. It's like, a dedicated like aerial artillery basically. And I just think that C-130 is very iconic. It deserves a spot in number 5 in the top 5. Number 4, I have the SR-71. Again, the fastest manned jet aircraft, and also the manufacturing techniques. Literally, like they started like doing titanium and like the whole espionage side of that too. And I think just the aircraft that defined its time, like it needed to be so fast, like flew faster than a speeding bullet, which is insane. Like it couldn't have guns or missiles because it would outrun the guns or missiles it shot, which is crazy. Number 3, I had the 747, the Queen of the Skies. You got Air Force One. They even tested an aerial refueling version of the 747. It carried the space shuttle. It has a Dreamliner. There's so many different variations of telescope. It's a really insane, versatile aircraft that I believe, in terms of just sheer iconicness, I feel like it could arguably be number 1, but I don't know. It would kill me to have, not a fighter at number 1. But the top 2 are both fighter aircraft. And number 2, I have the F-15 Eagle. Again, an aircraft that landed with one wing. I don't know any other aircraft in the world that has enough aerodynamics to land with one wing, which is insane to me. So the F-15, again, 104 to 0 aerial victories. Like it's never been shot down, undefeated. And like, the next aircraft is the only aircraft that I believe that could probably possibly beat it is the F-22. I have that at number 1. If you're going to an air show, I think, it's worth going to see at an air show. I think it's insane, the demo that they do. It does stuff like a stun airplane, but it's like a huge fighter jet the size of like a 737 almost. So, like it's crazy to see that airplane like just literally do the most asinine crazy things. That's really my top 10. I thought about, or a top 5. I thought about doing a top 10, but
Top 10.
I could definitely just spend all day trying to figure out a top 10. But yeah.
Yeah. My, I thought about it for a little bit. I thought about putting it out into the chat to see if anyone else was going to chime in. But I put most iconic, and it starts off with, United States coming in with the modern era for flight. You have the Wright brothers flight in 1909. You have the Langley Aerodrome that also started technically in 1850 with the prototype. It's from the photo I saw, it looked like more of a Red Bull Flugzeug, like dropping it off of a higher spot, but still pretty cool to make something like that. Most influential was the F-14, we were talking about before, that aircraft, people seeing it. I was born in 81, like people seeing that in Top Gun, drove them to the Navy. They wanted to fly F-14.
Yep.
I didn't go that route, but I fell in love with aviation. I'll be a lifelong student forever. Learning more about aviation, aerodynamics, aircraft maintenance, air traffic control, where I'm in now. So I'm not slowing down anytime soon. That aircraft is definitely influential. I caught the last flight that it did in South Florida, so that was a tough one to let go of. The fastest I have, I mean, you talked about it also. Number 4 for you, the SR-71 Blackbird. Mach 3.3, still being the fastest. I think the X-14 is the fastest right now, but it's a X-plane.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And then also, growing up in the 80s and 90s, I watched X-Men, so I thought, oh yeah, the X-Jet, that's the SR-71. And then also the F-117 Nighthawk was actually, I have it in my fastest because it's more like an honorable mention. Growing up, you watching X-Files, you're like, oh, aliens. That's definitely going to be the F-117 Nighthawk, that diamond shape with the lights, I imagine it somewhere in the West Desert, just kind of flying low and scaring people, anything Skunk Works, I'm in love with.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Biggest for me, 747 Jumbo Jet, like you said, it's been around since the 60s. It's flown around the world many times. It takes you to cultures that no one, that just connecting cultures. You talked about presidential aircraft. The Saudis, I believe, have a 747. We have a 747 in the U.S. Air Force, Air Force One. I mean, there's talk about, I try not to get into politics on the show.
Yeah.
You have Qatar giving us the 747. That's a brand new one.
Yeah.
Hey, we still built it. Boeing built that. We
Literally
just have to buy it.
Yep.
So I think that's a win. And then for me, most nostalgic is the P-51 Mustang. When we see that, it's an iconic World War II fighter plane, Warbird. When we see that in air shows, chasing Tora, you kind of get back into that. But it's World War II. This thing was actually up there taking out the Axis side of things.
Yeah.
So it evokes a nostalgia for a wartime period. I have a neighbor that I've known him for 9 years, and he's about ready to move. He's like, yeah, it's been tough. I was in the Marines and, for Korea. I'm like, Korea? Holy cow, dude. You never told me that, And P-51 flew in Korea also. So as a support, when I think about the timeline of aviation, 1909 for the first flight to 1945 for World War II, that's a big span of different type aircraft.
Oh, yeah.
Going into Cold War, going into the 80s and 90s, we're over 100 years of aviation, but the aircraft, there's like thousands of different aircraft throughout that. So it's hard to pick a top 5.
It is definitely hard, yeah. And, I think there's a bunch of other aircraft things, like we started the jet age in I think it was 1945 or a little after that, right? You had the ME-262 as the first jet fighter. We had, literally a 4 or 5 minute flight, and then we were flying jets. So it's crazy, that leap.
It's 1944, it's crazy. There's prop aircraft fighting, jet aircraft, bombers, multi-engine. It's just, it's incredible. All right, so we got that. I got you on the show, or I wanted you to get on the show because, one, I'm trying to figure out how do I progress in video. Mm-hmm. Everyone that I get on the show, I'm pretty much getting them on there because I want to learn something from them. So we've had people on there previously that have done solely networking to build their portfolios. I've learned a lot on that. It's helped me a lot. You're doing solely videography. Yep. You're the first videographer we've had. Hopefully we have a second coming on.
Yeah.
But, I asked you a bunch of questions in the beginning just to kind of get where your mind was. And, dude, it's everything you said, and I'm like, oh man, this guy runs at 110% creativity. Like, I can barely keep a focus sometimes. I'll get a shot and I'll have a really good photo, and then the next photo is like crap. So how do you maintain this high level of creativity?
I think that's a great question. First off, I think just like holding a standard and I call them non-negotiables. So if you're constantly getting in the reps, you're constantly learning like new tactic and skills, and also, you know, backing up just a little bit. Like I feel like people are born like with just a knack or like kind of a bend towards creativity, or they're just passionate about it. And like you can't teach passion, but I can give you like tactical steps on like what I've done and implemented. You know, but I think just like when you're physically drained, or, you know, and it comes in waves, like it is definitely hard. If you've seen any of the videos I've produced, like it's stressful because in my head, I've built this standard and it's so high that like I gotta have the perfect song every time. And like I'm running out of music. I'll be honest, like there's only so many AC/DC songs I can, you know, hype everybody up with. So, but I'm constantly scouring the internet. You know, I scroll with purpose. Oh, I like this. Well, this is in the aviation, or this is in the automotive world, or hey, this is in the sports world, or, you know, I really like this interview style. I really like this lighting. Like, how do they do that? And then just being a student of the game, and you never stop learning. You know, one of my favorite Ozzy said, if you stop learning, you start dying. And I believe that wholeheartedly, that like you got to be a student, and also like definitely humble in your approach. But yeah, like good isn't good enough. Like to me, if I didn't get a perfect shot, it doesn't make it in the video. Where some people, oh, it's good enough or whatever. And sometimes, yeah, like there's a shot that could have been sharper. Like it meant something to me. So also like artistic, you know, artistic direction is like up for interpretation. But I think there's an undeniable like feeling when, you know, my goal is when I have somebody watch my video, I go in with the intent that I want them to like jump up, get in the car, and go to an air show. Like that is the emotion I want to try to tug on those heartstrings. And just like certain music, like it sounds weird, but it vibrates your brain in a way that it just is like, man, I really like this song. Like it just, the octave, the pitch, the way, you know, the pacing, I just love this. And then, you know, when I'm in the car, I'm constantly thinking, wow, this would be this is like a recap-y air show recap vibe, you know? And then I hear another song like, man, this would go great with a Warbird, or like, dang, dude, this is like straight up just bad to the bone, like fighter jet, canopy going down, you know, the salutes, the gang signs and all that. And it's like, I think about songs like that, and that's just the way I think. It's hard to, if you're not already thinking that way, it's hard for me to be like, yeah, I think this way and it'll help. But like, again, like I'll see like a marketing video, or I'll see, you know, another person, you know, and it's difficult because especially when, you know, you create at a high level, there's not a whole lot of people that are doing it at a high level. So then it's like, you're in a way like studying the trend, or so to speak, if you know what I'm saying. So it's like, well, what are other people using? And it's just like, dang, all this music is just not, I'm not vibing with this music. Not that it's bad or anything like that, but it's like, it's tough because it's like, if you're the only a couple of people doing it, it's like, well, you know, I feed off competition. And so like, if I have competition, I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to do this, you know? So anyways, it's like really cool when I have competition, but even if I don't have a competition, I'm like competing with myself. You know, in humble competition. It's like, you don't think fighter pilots are in the lockers like, oh, yeah, the aileron roll was sloppy, dude. I can't believe you did that. Like, whoa. You know, like, they're doing the same thing, but it's like, I respect people at a high level. And especially, like, if I come into an air show, like, I don't want people to think, like, well, he's going to come steal this from me. I'm like, no, I'm here to help you. Like, this is your house. Like, why would I come steal your house from you? Like, if this air show and you run this air show, or you are the connection for this air show, well, then I want to come in and, like, how can I help, like, tonight? For instance, this is your house. Like, I want to come and add value to your podcast. And, you know, if I'm at an air show and it's not my air show, then I want to bring value, and I want to like be the hardest worker. And like, I want you to be able to rely on me to stay safe, conduct myself in a professional manner, and then deliver like what you want me to deliver for you. And so I just feel like, again, too, you know, like helping people. Like, just help people. Yeah. Like, you want to be the person they call when they need the shot. And you want to have the reps. You want to have the reliable gear. And you should already have 1 million reps before you get up to that. You know, what is it? 10,000 hours on a skill. Mm-hmm. And you are like an expert, you know? And I think if you want that 10,000 hours, you get overwhelmed, right? I think that's what, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And I truly believe it takes about 5 years. You know, I may have fast tracked that a little bit, but there's some people in this game that have been doing it for a lot longer than I have. And I will tell you, it's exciting and fun blowing up quickly, but it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? So, I've definitely had those experiences where it's like, yeah, well, you want to be the guy, right? You want to be the guy that gets that call. But I think just worrying about having your reps, how do you stand out from everybody else? In my mind, I was already a photographer. I was a portrait photographer in St. Louis. And I just saw the trend going more towards video and social media adding immense value to pushing video content. And I often say too, like if I was a photographer, and I just did stills, well then I would basically have behind the scenes video or a 360, and I would constantly post behind the scenes videos, a day in the life video on my cell phone, and I would somehow work low level, like decent video production and tell a story and then try to go viral in that aspect and then really lean on it. Like these pictures are just insane, and that's why I love like people like Camden Thrasher or Marvin, and people that just have those images that are so either super sharp or like Camden Thrasher has like this cool abstract feel, and it's like nobody's getting that shot. And you don't think that dude has 1 million reps before he gets anywhere? Like he's had 1 million reps. So like when he comes there, you want him for that shot that he brings, that creativity, and you just let him do what he does. Like. And as long as he knows the safety protocol and like that dude's going to deliver and he will. So like, having that trust, but like, how do you stand out? Like there's 1 million other or not 1 million, there's probably like 300 or 400 people all have the same camera. They all have a 200 to 600, but why is Camden different? So I look at that. I look at the playing field. Like I hope other people are watching and I say, well, how is Camden carving out his style? And I guess, it'd be more or less like, what's your style? Because you have people that will just do one takeoff video. I mean, every piece of content is needed, in my opinion. I think everybody has their style. Everybody has their thing that they do. And then you just carve out your little section of the internet and you just get really good at that. And then be open to suggestion and be open to just evolving, For instance, I'd love to do documentaries, but I just don't have the budget. I just don't have the time. I need a team, I don't think any person is denying that, if you could do it all the way, everybody would want to be Sam in an F-15. Who wouldn't? Like, everybody would want that. And anybody who doesn't is crazy, or they just get easily sick with their stomach. But, of course I would love to do that. But it's realistically, how can I build a team? And, again, how do you stick out from everybody else? Look at the playing field and just think, well, what if I try this? What if I network here? And you're constantly chasing that. It's just building something. I have this innate drive to want to build something, right? And network with this person, and take care of this person. I want to take care of people, and I want the reputation of a creative to be, they're going to deliver, and I can give this person access. Because when you go into an air show, and I get working for free and all that I get that. But when they open up the door and you normally don't get access to things like this, I think taking care of them to a point and having a decent level of effort and taking care of them is going to go a long way. And I've heard, horror stories, and I know nobody listening to this, right? Nobody listening to this podcast has ever done this before, but you hear horror stories of photographers going and, shooting an air show and they don't deliver. And then they'll go sell their pictures on the website. And I get mad because it's well, I'm the guy coming behind that jerk that just pulled one on the air show. Those air shows don't like that. You could give them 3 or 4 or 5 pictures. I don't see the heartache of, they gave you the access and you got to talk to the pilots and you got to create content and promote your channel and you still have creative freedom. I don't see I don't know. I just, I kind of went on a rabbit trail, but basically, bringing it all back. If you want to be creative and you want to just create your style, be a student of the game and networking with people. And then when you do network with people, take care of them. take care of your people. You're like, you got to do that. And I'm not saying, be jerked around and you got to have clear, concise boundaries. If you want to have a contract, even though, you're volunteering, but you have a volunteer contract so they don't take advantage of you. I'm not saying don't let them take advantage of you, but I am saying like you should, negotiate on expectations because, if they just want me to come and do my thing, like I would love that, If they want me to come and do actual promo, well then we can work that out in the budget and figure that out. But yeah, I'm very fortunate too with my job. Like I get reps at my job. Like I don't have to fret that I'm going to get stale or lose that edge, so to speak, because I'm getting those reps in at work. So I'm never like kind of afraid I'll ever kind of lose that edge or whatever. But again, somebody that works a 9 to 5 may not have that ability. But like for instance, one of my best friends, Chris Connolly. I think his username is Stormworks, but that dude is in February, 9 degrees outside, and because he wants to be versatile and learn a new skill and learn how to shoot log on his Z9, he's in 9-degree weather watching a regional United jet being de-iced and making a promo video of them de-icing a jet. Wow. There's not a whole lot of people that want it that bad. I want it that bad, and I'll do video. And there's no way I'd go outside like that and take pictures to get good at pictures. This dude is at Louisville. Like, he's based out of Owensboro. He drives to Louisville because you have UPS 747s flying in, and, like, it's a great spotter location. And he is doing a fifth of a second panning shots to be dialed in. So when it comes to providing that value to the air show, at the air shows we're going to, he's already got 3-4 weeks, of a second.
Yeah.
That is insane. And you do need a machine that can pull that off. I do get gear is, he's got a Z9. Yeah, I'm sure he could do that. It's like, nah, but you still got to be, you got to
have the glass.
Yeah.
You got to have the glass for it. You got to have the patience that you're going to shoot probably 1,000 photos and you're maybe going to get 10. The percentage of keepers are really low. I mean, what do you say? Ninth of a second? A fifth, yeah. I'm not gonna have that.
Yeah, dude, but when he nails it, man, you're just scratching your head like, wow, like, and that's again, that's what I strive for. I want that angle. I want to network to help, and it's like, and again, like competition, like I think playful competition is gonna make you better.
Yeah,
I think it will. And if you rise to the occasion of it, I do think playful, respectful competition. And again, like, if I'm on a team with somebody, I'm like, I'm there. I want you on my team. If I want you on my team, I want to win. Of course, like, I hope I want to win. But, if it's like just playful and we're at the same air show, it's like, all right, cool. Let's see who can make the best video. Like, that's playful. Like, I don't think they're both high level, and I respect anybody. I respect the game, and I respect anybody creating at a high level. You know what I'm saying? But I think, just like playful competition or just messing around with each other. Like, like I treat everybody else at an air show. Like, I actually told this story. I was in St. Louis, and just holding yourself at a high level. And this is what I personally strive for when I go to an air show. And like the way I conduct myself. I was on the show center on the other side of the fence shooting at the St. Louis Air Show. It was in the middle of June. I mean, it was hot, 95, humid. It was terrible, right? And I'm hurting, but we're locked in. We're gonna get through. Like, I was hurting, but I was like, you know what? I want it this bad, and I'm gonna do my job. Like, I was, brought on to do this job. And I'm gonna see it through, right? But I was definitely like, man, it's getting to me. It's hot. And I think the previous, it was the F-35s were getting out, but the F-35 team was rolling out, and then the F-22 team was rolling in. And Lugo, their superintendent, came up to me and my whole video crew, not just me, my entire crew of about 6 people. And he said, hey guys, how you guys doing? Oh man, it's a great day. You guys excited? I'm like, woo, yeah, like thumbs up. He's like, you guys want a water or anything? And I was like, man, I could really use the water right now, but I can't leave because I'm going to miss the shot. And then he ran and got my whole team of water. He is a superintendent of the most feared aircraft in the world. He don't need to get me nothing. He's a he's a bad to the bone dude, right? He don't need to give me any waters, but he walked himself over to that like 30, 40 feet, and then walked all the way back with a bunch of waters for all of us. And I said, that's how I want to connect myself. Just like Raz Larson and John Lugo. Both of those dudes, you could talk to them, and we were like best friends. And they made you feel like $1,000,000. And I'm thinking, like, they set the bar so high. Like, I don't know, no other demo team superintendent could give a rat's bahootie about me, you know? So, like, let alone the F-22 team, you know? And, of course, I knew him, and he knew me, and you know the people that roll. If I'm rolling with people, that we're all cool, right? But still, man, like, that's still, I will never forget that day. I will never forget how hot it was. And still, like, that dude is one solid dude. And, like, again, that's how I think. Man, is there anything I can do for you? You know, like, I was at Stewart, you know, and I was, like, talking to the media director there, Kyle, and I'm like, hey, man, you need water? You need a snack? He's like, oh, yeah, dude. You know, I was like, I'm passing it forward because, again, I'm just here and being a servant to the person that I'm helping. And I want to help supplement that guy. And I don't want, you know, I don't think jealousy is attractive on anybody, and I'm here to take care of everybody. And if I'm at an air show, I'm not going to network with people, but, like, I'm here to help, you know, and if I get the call, I want somebody to trust that I can do the best job that I can possibly do. And again, you know, evolving, looking at the trends, and just staying up on Instagram, you know, like, you know, you're marketing, we're doing marketing right now. This is marketing, you know, so, like, everybody needs to be, if you're posting on social media, you are marketing yourself as a personal brand. So if you're posting pictures and you got a little bit of a following, you're a personal brand. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I hope that helps. I kind of went off that defense a little bit, but yeah.
I mean, it helps. It does. You know, that's one thing I thought about after the Stewart Air Show. You know, I reached out to my media contacts and said, okay, you know, what photos do you want? He's like, well, we had a videographer there. If you want to send me whatever photos you have, that's fine. I'm like, okay. I sent them all of my best work, you know, because I was just like, you know, I'm doing this. I get to have this access because you gave me this access, you know. I wouldn't have been able to, I mean, maybe I would have been able to get it. And I had a little bit of help with my FAA contacts, but I gave them, you know, my friends in the FAA, I gave them all the photos too. I said, dude, thanks for, you know, driving me around in a golf cart. I saw Camden, like, you know, hoofing it around there. So I was like, Camden, you want to jump on the golf cart? You know, it's here. So he's like, nah, go for it, you know. So I gave them all of my photos. Really, I don't get paid for it. I do aviation photos because I love it. You know, I've been studying aviation since I was a kid going to air shows with my parents, you know, and then in 95, I started a vocational school doing aircraft maintenance. You know, I was in high school, but I was still doing aviation because I love to learn more of it. So, you know, my history of aviation has been across every episode for the most part of the podcast, you know, but now after coming back from Sun and Fun and seeing all these vintage airplanes and all the stole planes, all this GA, just almost just covered in GA, you know, GA dirt, GA oil. Now I'm like, okay, maybe I want to get into GA more, you know, maybe I'll get a pilot license sometime, you know, and be able to fly. If I did do that route, I would probably get into the aerial cinematography. Well, probably not cinematography, but aerial photography for sure. Videos. I would, if I had my own aircraft, I'd be putting one of those little cameras on the bottom of the wing. You know,
dude. Yeah. So if I won the lottery, and people are like, well, Preston, you love airplanes so much, how come you don't have a pilot's license? It's like, I don't want to spend $10,000 to go fly a Cessna 172. No offense. I want something I can go, like, put my butt to the seat and, like, go do some aerobatics or something, like an L-39 or, like,
you gotta start in the Cessna though.
Yeah, I mean, I do gotta learn a Cessna, but, like, you know, like, I would like a Diamond DA50 or the PT-12, or not the PT-12, but what's the single turboprop? The single on the nose. It's like got a T-tail. I forget.
I think it's a Pilatus.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so like yeah, I would not want that. And like, yeah, like, of course. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I'm a billionaire, a millionaire or whatever. So it's like, whatever. I'd love to have a rotary, a helicopter license or whatever, and yeah, I got my dad a birthday riding the Cobra, man. It's just so cool. And I'm a marketing director and I fly my drone. Like I have like 300 hours on my Mavic, right? So I can fly it every day and I fly like 2-3 batteries a day. So like for me, it was so cool seeing like the POV of what my drone sees every day. And so like we did dive bombs and I had a guy that actually flew Cobras in the military in Germany, which was really cool. And my dad has been in the aviation industry his whole career. He worked on the MD 900 program with McDonnell Douglas in Mesa, Arizona. And so I said, you can do cool stuff back in the 90s. Go with your dad to work, right? And so we were loading sandbags in to the MD 900 like wee hours of the morning, and we could see all the computers all inside. And we got to watch it do the tests on the tarmac. And it was high altitude, cold weather testing. And we'd go up on winter break, Dad pulled some strings, and we got an MD 900 ride in Flagstaff, and we were like watching, this pilot take us around to an aerial tour of Flagstaff. So fast forward, it was my dad's birthday last Saturday, and I got him a Cobra ride for his birthday, and he had no idea. Like I was like, hey, he thought Preston was cool, and like did a media ride, right? So, oh yeah, I'll go watch Preston. I'm like, why am I watching him fly? Like I want to fly, So it's like. I surprised him before that day, and I was like, hey, and I want to give back. And again, I think aviation is about people and telling exceptional people's story. My good friend Kyle, sometimes I get caught up and I'm more of a workhorse type person, and I feel like if I can improve on anything, it's definitely networking, because it's like, well, if I miss the shot, then I have no ammunition to like network with. It's like so it's like that catch-22, right? Of like, I didn't get the shot, but I didn't have time to talk to the pilots and all the maintainers and all the the staff that are doing the air show. So that's something that it's like that nuance. There's no right or wrong answer. So that's something I could do. But he's like, Preston, it's about the people, and he's right. Kyle is definitely right. It is about the people and telling exceptional people doing amazing feats of what they do and the people that support those people as well. And it's all encompassing. But again, like I wanted to make it about my dad. And actually I ended up getting my friend Chris Connolly with Stormworks. I got him up too because again, he opened his house. I came to Owensboro and helped with their air show. And I came in, he had a small rig multi-tool that was like $40-50. He had brand new sunscreen. He had a full-out Hawaiian shirt, custom made with the Blue Angels and the F-35. He had shower slippers, deodorant, like a whole care package. I'm like, this dude's rolling out the red carpet. What the heck? He had a patch. He had like an air show patch in there with it. And I'm like, wow, like this is a 5-star treatment, dude. Wow. So I was like, you know what? That dude is a ride or die. We're like, dude, we're just like that, dude. It's like we can think. And we don't have to, what do you want? What do we need? What are we doing? Like, we just literally talk for 20 minutes a day because we're both going to Smyrna in Tennessee. And so, like, we're talking about what do we need? What do we need to do? What do we charge? What do we need to bring? I can do this. I can do that, And so it's like, it's like having those people, like having a shared experience. Like, you want best friends. It's like that one guy, you're like, yeah, dude, like, I'm not going unless he's going or whatever, And I'm not to say, like, dude, it's like, and we're both secure. We're both secure where it's like, oh, man, I got an air-to-air shoot, man. Like, I hate dodging on you, but I can't bring both of us type thing. Or, I'm going to be on the other side of the fence, like I got to get this. Dude, you go do what you need. And he's like, you need video, you need pictures. And see, like, he's more versatile. So, like, a person that's more versatile to me, especially being video-centric, well, it's like, yeah, I do need a thumbnail. So, like, one day, you get the picture. He's just taking the same picture 4 days in a row. Yeah. Especially when you get there on a Thursday to a Sunday, you're literally just getting the same pictures over and over and over. If you kill it on one day, well then shoot, dude. Like start video, like and just being more versatile. And having a versatile player is like really awesome because that's the thing. It's like you need crowd shots. I don't want somebody to be like, well, Preston only is really good at like tracking airplanes. I mean that is hard, but it's like, well, I need some kid shots too. So having the people background in my day-to-day job, where I work, is I can go work. I call it crowd work. So just go, do some crowd work, and then mosey your way back to show center. If I don't have to fight for my spot, and like if I'm just on a military base and I get a media pass, it really just affords me parking, and I'm vetted, and I'm not going to get stopped at the gate because I have a big lens. That's literally all that kind of really affords you, unless, somebody. But like being in front and helping those people, if I have to fend for my spot, it's hard for me to go do crowd work because it's like,
once you get out of that spot, it's hard to get back into it.
Oh yeah, dude. And then people start setting up real close to me, and it's like I am the magnet to get the 6'7" dude, football players, dude, right next to me. Like, dude, you have the whole fucking place, dude. Like, wow, whatever, dude. So that's pretty funny, but whatever.
Yeah, I have a friend that has a giant lens, man. I'm like, dude, I just gotta stay away from you. You're gonna get the best shots, man. I can't even. And I love it that he does. I love it that he gets the best shots, but I'm like, okay, I got to get something different. I can't. We have a small group here in South Florida, right? We have the 305th Photo Squadron. It started off with like 8 or 9 guys. And, we have a group that like to submit photos to our Instagram and we collaborate and, that whole thing. I know there's a lot of people that don't like to have another page to repost their photos. We're not going to repost your photos. If you're in South Florida and if you want to share your photos to maybe a wider group, you could submit it as a collaborator. You could join our group, submit your photos as a collaborate. We'll collaborate on it together. You populate kind of our page a little bit with photos, and then, we share it to people that may have not follow you, and hopefully they could, follow. The same thing with this podcast. They get different photographers on so they can share what they love to do, where their photos are seen, what kind of images you do. What do you want to learn? You had said you wanted to learn log. I don't even know what log is.
Yeah. Oh, man, all of the cinematographers, I get a lot of, flack for not shooting log. I shoot HLG, and I know, like, all the cinematographers are, like, dying a little on the inside, like, So log is basically shooting, like, it would be like me shooting JPEG,
Okay.
like if in photography terms. So like while log is not raw, because you can't shoot raw video just like raw photos. But yeah, it basically gives me more flexibility in post-production, but there's a very specific way. It just adds more workflow. And I've been used to shooting HLG, and I honestly think, maybe my videos could be a little sharper or a little more, saturated maybe, but I kind of go for the stealthy, murdered out, like just kind of masculine vibe of like cool videos. I do appreciate having the flexibility. I just need to learn that. And I have some projects coming up for next year in 26 that I will need to be pretty proficient there. And honestly, I have the luxury of being able to get reps at work. So I'm thinking about just getting reps at work and learning and getting good at it. But yeah, it's basically shooting raw, not for the concept of knowing what that is. But yeah, I really do need to learn how to shoot in log. But yeah, Sony makes a great platform. You have a lot of capability, and I think, if I could go back right now, I'd probably get a Z9. That camera is just super bad to the bone. But if I'm sticking with Sony, I thought that the A9 III would be pretty good because you're not going to get that weird, diffraction or whatever. Because like if you have really high megapixels, it gets real noisy. And also shooting 120 frames per second raw photo. Like I always joke, it's like, not just a lie. It's morphed into something more than this, but like low key, like I've been telling people, like, man, I'm really pushing hard because someday it'd just be awesome to have an opportunity, if it ever came across my way, to get in the backseat of something fast, right? Whatever that is, I don't know. But if it never happens, I guess whatever. But I was like, once if that happens, I'll let off the gas a little bit and retire and just take pictures. Cause then I've had a reputation or whatever, but it's like, oh, video. But, cause video, man, it's so much more, right? And especially if you're telling, a hyped up story, right? I try to tell a story in my things, and it's very aircraft centric, right? I mean, we're taking pictures of airplanes here. I ain't seen a whole lot of people taking pictures of people like that's a portrait or, people page. Incorporating the people, because I mean, the air shows without the crowds and the people that attend them, like our air shows wouldn't be anything, right? So that being said, like, I do tell a story, and I'm trying to be, fluid and stuff. And like this year, I really wanted to try to get shots. Like if it's like the B1, I'm not missing my shot. I'm going to be locked in. I'm going to get the B1. I haven't seen it like really taxi or, I've seen a flyby at 10,000 feet, but I mean, that's nothing. Right. And so I was very fortunate to collaborate with some people and like get some really awesome shots, but I'm going to get that instead of like focusing on the crowd. And that's where I feel like, I want to shoot log. And then I also, I want to do like a day in the life or behind the scenes, like show other photographers, what are you using, and give tactical advice and also just good advice in general. Like, I think that there's a lot that you need to find out on your own. And what I mean by that is that I thought, well, because I'm talented, I'll get X. And it doesn't happen that way. It doesn't matter how good you are. Networking and taking care of people is going to make you go further than being technically sound. But like, I hope we'll do this. And it's like, if it fizzles out, most of the time it does fizzle out, unfortunately, right? That's just the game. It's the game we play, right? Oh yeah, we'll have you out. We're going to have, oh yeah, come on. It's like, it never happens. Sometimes it does, then you got to be ready. But sometimes it never happens. And it's like, okay, well, blah, blah, blah. And you get mad, and you get FOMO, the fear of missing out, and it's like, oh, well, what did this guy do? Oh, man, I want to be the guy. And it's like, I get that. That's valid. But at the same time, when you do work hard and you are consistent and you are taking care of people and all the other things that I've always said, guess what? When you do get that call, you are going to appreciate it a million times more because, you worked your butt off for it instead of somebody just giving it to you because you're super talented and you're a cool dude. I think you're going to like it way more. And that's what I'm saying by when you network and people aren't just spelling it out for you. Like, I feel like networking is huge, but you got to be creative. You got to navigate. It's the path you have to walk yourself. Someone can't be that person for you. Now, you can be an introducer, like, hey, what's up, and you could be a mitigator. Like you meet, you have a guy and then, hey man, you need to meet this guy. This guy's awesome. And then you hook it up, but past that handoff, and I get trusting people because people get burned and you can't trust everybody. I totally get that, but when I met Chris and in hindsight 2020, I was kind of a maverick in the sense of like, I'm bushy-tailed, bright-eyed, never been taken advantage of, at least in the air show industry. And, and I don't recommend doing this, obviously, but I'm glad I did it this way. I'm heading up on Friday. Practice day, I got my wagon, I got my big straw hat, I got sunscreen all over my nose, and I look like the final boss of air show photographers. And I look like I know what I'm doing. Like I know I'm going to get my spot. And Chris, I never met him, but I remember he stuck out from the rest of the av geeks, right? They got their Rebels, they're like little handy cams, oh yeah, I think the B2 will do a flyover, and and they're just like talking about super nerd stuff, right? And everybody's a nerd, I get it, and no shade to them. I'm not trying to be mean here, just inconsiderate, but just the vibes, the vibes are. Everybody knows these people at the air shows. There's just different levels to it, and so I'm starting to pull away from the group because I'm like, I don't want this spot, right? I want a different spot. And he knew, I knew, this dude knows where he's going. And I want to, and we start hitting it off. And literally like the scene from Step Brothers, I'm like, did we just become best friends? Like literally and I stopped, like we had that moment and then I'm like walking. I'm like, oh, my other good friend, Guy Gevers, who owns his own production company, he had a scheduling conflict, and I had 2 media passes, literally in my little lanyard thing. And I'm walking, and I stop, and I'm like, hey, it'd be cool But hey, your guy Gievers the whole weekend. He's like, say less. Dude, we burned it up. We were best friends. I got up on the tower, the air control tower with Bowman, the former F-22 PA, and we tore it up, man. Raz was there, and I was like, man, it was a great air show at KC. And then, Chris, I can tell, you can just tell. You can tell in your heart, like, this dude, you can trust people pretty quick.
Yeah.
I don't know about this guy. Like, he's weird. Like, he was cool, and he was cool the whole time. And lo and behold, like, he's a bad dude, like, badass dude. Like, he's super cool, and like, he's very talented. And there's so many photographers, like I've said this before, but they're slept on, dude. Dude, you know how many talented people don't have a following? Dude, I know people who don't post at all, and they have been published in magazines. Like, mine would be blown. Like, what? And the shots they get, you just never know that there's just a photographer that can blow everybody out of the water, and they never post. And they never want to. I mean, marketing is, some people don't like it or the attention or whatever. They're there for the vibes, and they're there to hang out. There's those photographers, man, it's just like, they're so fun to hang out with, and you want to be there at the air shows with them, like, those are people too. And Chris is definitely one of those guys where it's just like, I met him, and I'm like, well, I took a chance on that guy. And now looking back in hindsight 2020, man, it could have blown up in my face. Thank God it didn't. But like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I put somebody on I just met,
Yeah.
And just showing up. If you show up, you could be right there and like, hey, can we do that? Yeah, sure. Come on through. What do you want? What do you want to take a picture of? And like, you literally were there. Like, that's all you needed to be, is like there and talk and be friendly. And you'll be surprised. Like, you'll start talking to the pilots, and then you're memorable. And like, especially when you get a viral video, and like, well, how do you get that? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, man, you just show up, work your butt off, stand out from everybody else. That's advice that if you take that advice, again, you'll go very far, honestly. So,
yeah.
And like, thinking about other people that are younger than us, and like, if they want to do photography, like, you don't need to be a pilot. You don't need to be a maintainer. You could be a photographer. And if you want to do that, I think, having a tactical plan for people, like settings and tripod and gear, and what are other photographers doing that I'm not doing. Like, I have my own style, but like, I'm not saying I can't go learn something from somebody else type thing. So anyways, but yeah, dude, I think, I think you could see a lot of photographers based off this conversation. I think this is a pretty good conversation.
Yeah, there's definitely, there's like, one videographer for every 10 photographers. There's a lot out there, and it's hard to separate those guys. You have the guys that have the super telephoto lens, and they're counting the rivets. Mm-hmm. You have the other side of that spectrum, like Camden, and his creativity and abstract images.
Yep.
Shooting manual for like most of this panning stuff he's doing. That's two ends of the spectrum there, and I'm like in the middle, like, okay, my photos are just good enough, today, or maybe I'll have a really good creative side there, and I'm like, okay, half the time I want to give up, when you see these guys' photos, but they're friends, you support them however you can. I'm gonna be at Miami Beach Air Show this weekend.
I was gonna ask, dude, that's awesome. Yeah.
We both got media access. He's telling me, oh, I might be able to do this. I'm like, I might have known about it, but I might not have that access. Let me know when you go. I will document it for you, so then you could have that memory, that you were able to do this.
Yeah.
It's just support your friends, I know I hear it a lot, and my wife is going to be like, you got to support your family too. And I'm like, yes. Always support your family,
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you're seeing them out there and they're having a tough time and they're trying to figure out, what kind of, most of my friends shoot Canon, so I can't swap out lenses. But if I had some Nikon friends, I'd be like, hey, you know what? Actually, I might have had that at Sun and Fun. I was up in the tower on Friday night for the air traffic controllers were out, or Friday afternoon. Air traffic controllers are out there. He also shot Nikon, or he was doing Sony or something. But I had two cameras for that show. I had a super wide angle, 11 to 20 Tokina, and then I had my 100 to 400, and I had two cameras. I was like, dude, I can't shoot with both of them. If you want, shoot with this D500 super wide angle, and if you get any photos, I'll just send them to you. And he had no idea. He told me, I only come out here, I only use my camera once a year, and that's for sun and fun. And I photograph all the air traffic controllers out here. I was like, okay, well, I guess if you got pictures, you got pictures. If not, try your best.
Yeah.
So he was inside the cab for most of the close flybys of the Blue Angels came by pretty close. I got a photo from another photographer that was there. He got the Blue Angel coming behind the tower. And I was, outside on the catwalk. And I think the Skip Stewart and Melissa Burns, they do a demo together. They were flying. Hey, Kyle, welcome.
What's up, Kyle?
Flying, like literally buzzing the tower. You could hear them from inside the tower. You could hear their engine. I'm like, man, that must have been a cool shot. I was outside, but this guy was inside using that camera. And the photos, he just had no idea how to do the settings and all that. I'm like, okay, well, I can't be in two places at the same time. Might as well try to get what you can get. But it was a good contact to make. He was able to share some photos with some of our guys that were from South Florida that were able to go to Lakeland, and I shared him, my link of all the photos I was able to catch at Sun and Fun, so he could share for air traffic controller. So it worked out in the end. We're running.
What do you shoot on?
Say again.
So what do you shoot on?
I do a Nikon D500 with a Tamron 100 to 400. Yeah,
dude, 500 is a good camera. I think Heather Fields on the water photography, she just upgraded to a Z8, but she still has a second body. I think she has D850. Yours is a crop or full frame?
Crop. Yeah,
okay.
Crop.
Okay. Yeah, so that was like the crop body version of Yeah. I
D850 I believe is full frame.
Yeah, you do lose some extended ranges on that for sure.
Yeah, the 1.5x is nice to have on my 600 millimeter, and if I can also add another 1.5x if I want to do video. But that becomes like almost 900 millimeter video. I can't even zoom out. I can't even zoom in that close because I don't have a tripod. I lost my monopod at Sun Fun.
Yeah, trying to hold it. You're like, oh, it's shaking. Yeah.
That's I was talking to Kyle about that a little bit. I shot the Blue Angels when they came into Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
And I did some interviews with them, and I was talking to you about it, how, I was doing with Channel 7. I was able to record Channel 7's kind of video because the guy took my questions, but I was like, I'll just use this answer, and then I was able, when I saw, I was out on the beach on Fort Lauderdale, right next to the announcer's stand, and he was standing right in front on the sand saying, okay, this is going to be the, the whole group aileron roll. I'm like, hold on a second. This guy just talked about it on a, Blue Angels 2 was talking about that's the most difficult maneuver that they have. Let me switch over to video real quick, and let me try to capture this video. Dude, in the video, I was like, went from photo to video, and it was like all shaking. I'm like, oh man, what do I do? What do I do? I got shaky. Do I slow it down where it just like looks like less shake? I don't know. But I got to start somewhere, right? If I want to start blending in photos and video, maybe I have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Marvin says he suck.
Yeah, I do suck, right?
He says, just kidding. He says you're the best aviation videographer in the business.
I appreciate it, Marvin. Yeah.
Is there
I'm excited? So what?
Is there any aviation films that inspire you?
Oh, dude, Top Gun. Dude, I mean, there's no other movie that has that unprecedented access to the naval jets there. But I really did like the. Oh man, what was it? Was it American Made? Had a lot of good air-to-air footage. Where Tom Cruise was.
Tom Cruise.
He was hired by the CIA. Yeah, he got caught up in that whole. That was a really good movie, and I really liked the acting and just the storyline on that. And then the one with the FU Corsair, like the aerial stuff was cool, but and the story was all right, but the acting was a little iffy a little bit. It was in the Korean War or whatever. I think I don't know. It came right after Top Gun did. That was pretty good.
Not Devotion, was it?
I think it was it. I honestly cannot even remember. I remember it was about the F4 though. They had amazing, beautiful footage of it. But another show that I do really like, Pulp Fiction. They just tell that story so. I mean, it's an iconic movie, but talking about like inspiration, but like telling a story and the way they like tell a story like backwards and all over the place. And then I mean, I'm not making any movies, right? So it's like different. It's just different the way, but I'm very excited about the Thunderbird documentary coming out on Netflix
Friday.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about that one because just to see the way they push the envelope. And again, like I've told a lot of people, my creativity is literally, I'm operating at probably a handicap of like 80%, right? Like I can be pretty good and I'll get really good to kind of offset that handicap, but I can't fly my drone. I can fly my drone at work. The shots I get at work are insane. And I push the envelope. Like I said, I fly probably an hour and change a day on my, several times a week. And I have I could almost have my instructor license for an aircraft. I could be teaching people how to fly in an airplane for how many hours I have. But thinking about when I see those shots from was it Laz or not? Raz Larson was at what was it at the Heritage? They did the Heritage practice, but I don't know who did the air to air, but he posted it a while ago. But it was dude, these are the things that are inside me thinking I wish I could push the envelope, But again, I mean, it's just red tape and who and again that there's reasons, safety and all that, and trust. So past that, it's I'd love to really push my creativity, and especially just seeing a top down of a F-16 with the vintage paint job, top down of it, taxiing. Dude, that would be unreal. It would be unreal. And it's
hard,
you see,
it's definitely hard to get those angles when you're ground based. I have maybe some opportunity to be at on a tower, air traffic tower, and see a top down. And those photos are only seen by a few people. The people that are actually at the tower. So it's when you do get those opportunities, I kind of wish I did video at the same time I was up there doing photos, but can't do both. Yeah. It's for me, it's always tear it apart. Do I want to do a video? Do I want to do photos? So,
and that's how it used to be. So, also, Kevin LaRosa, Kyle said, did the air to air. He also did a lot of stuff with the Top Gun stuff. So, it's like getting those shots, but going back to what you just said, it's a sacrifice, man. Here's the thing. I cannot put that picture on my wall. I don't have no pictures on my wall. I would love to have a picture that I took, and that is my pride and joy. It's the best picture I ever had. I can't really put a video up there. And then again, well, I have the video, so there's a give and take. You know what I'm saying? I eat, sleep, breathe. Every waking moment, again, going back to your non-negotiables, I want it this bad. I want it more than I want to breathe. And you can't teach that. I can tell you, but unless you have that mentality, it's difficult to teach that. And I don't know if you can. But that being said, you're going to have to, it's a sacrifice. I can't get that picture and, nor can you get the video. And then again, that's where you have, if you have a dynamic team and one guy's getting the still, one guy's getting the video, and it is difficult because, again, there's not a whole lot of me floating around. You can put the people that do decent quality video on probably one hand. It's tough for me, and I'm digging because I'm man, there's enough pie for everybody. There's enough. Everybody has enough pie. You know what I'm saying? And thinking putting on other creatives that you trust, that are vetted, that are talented, that are dedicated, and they want to do it just as bad as you want to do it. So. But yeah, it's a sacrifice, man. I mean, you're going to get one or the other, so, but, I wish I had unlimited creativity. There's one guy in, Saudi Arabia, somewhere in the Middle East, and he's got to Inspire 3 at Desert Flag. Was it Desert Flag? I might need to fact check me on that. I can't remember what Desert Flag, but they had F-16s, they had Typhoons, they had, I don't think they had any Sukhois out there. No stealth, but it was like F-15Cs, they had F-16s, they had Saudi Arabia, I think it was, Saudi Arabia. And he's flying up under the wing. He's like following them as they taxi out. He's literally on their butts, like up in an so they're taking off, and he's like way back here with like an 85 on the Inspire 3, and I'm sending that to all my air shows. I'm like, dude, we need to do this. Like, what? This is absurd. I'm like, this would be great. This would be so cool. And they're like, oh yeah, those Saudis really like their drone footage. And I'm like, we should do. Like, that's really cool. Like, this would be sweet. And so, but yeah, I mean, red tape, safety, relationship. You need to talk to the pilot. There's so many things there's so many variables where, and I'm sure they do that there too. But yeah, I would love to, that's not really air to air cinematography, but it's definitely a different perspective that nobody else really gets to see unless you're, elevated. So it is a challenge though too. And I think often I'm like getting an F-16 doing his demo and getting any footage of video that is remotely in focus is a miracle. That FEMA flies the paint off that F-16, and it is this big, like literally this big. So that is definitely the most challenging jet, I'll say, to film. F-22, he stalls out a lot, right? So he is fast, but you can catch him a lot better than F-16, man. That F-16, he aerodynamically has to fly faster. He cannot have that AOA capability like an F-22 can just literally like stall and like, yeah, he can stop. Where the F-16, you don't see him doing those stalls really much, But yeah, that's why when the Super Delta came in Pensacola last year for homecoming, I was like, wow, this Super Delta's flying like 4 times faster. And they're like, yeah, the F-16 is like literally gonna fall out of the sky if they don't go that fast. I'm like, makes sense. So, but yeah. I mean, you really gotta, figure out what you want to do and again, being versatile, looking at the playing field, like I said, like there's so many reasons why to switch to video. It is a hill. There's a lot more things you got to think about. You can't just get that one frame, or you can't just crop the butt end of the afterburner out and post it still. I can't post that because the whole jet needs to be in there. Yeah. So those are things to think about. Audio, if you want to record audio, that's important. Having another recorder, getting the announcer, especially if it's something important. Tripods, stabilizers, and especially when you start flying, it's a headache. It is a headache. I'm going to say, I think about that often. I did a back-to-back air show. I did Pensacola homecoming, and I got there Wednesday, did till Sunday. And then I did a Thursday night red-eye, got in with Kyle at Stewart, and did a Friday to Sunday, then did another red-eye on Sunday.
Wow.
And let's just say on Sunday, carrying that heavy tripod at the end of the day, and I thought to myself, my feet are screaming, my lower back hurts, I'm sweating profusely, I haven't eaten all day, I'm dehydrated, and I'm thinking, why am I doing this? Why? And you've said before too, you're like, some of my pictures aren't in focus, right? And I'm like, Oscar, there are so many nights that I think about quitting and throwing in the towel. I do not want to do that. Like, I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, why do I want this? I said, there's so many nights where I'm burnt out. I don't have any more music. I have no more music. I have to scour the internet and flip the internet upside down and shake it a couple of times to find a song that fits. So, like, I get that wanting to throw in the towel. But again, I think that's what separates the difference between the million other people that threw in the towel that we don't know about. We're not talking about them right now. Oscar, pushing through and getting that shot. You know what I'm saying? I do think about that often. I think it's a give and take. There's certain people that just have no quit. There will be a moment where you shoot airplanes for 2 weeks straight, and I don't want to see another one for 3 months. But, you'll have that moment, and that's a valid feeling. You'll feel burnt out, and you'll feel like, FOMO sets in because you couldn't make this one air show. I mean, for instance, man, I got in a helicopter this weekend. I got some Cobra time. I got a front seat ride in the Cobra, and I saw the Oregon Air Show. And I'm like, oh, man, they had F-15s, man. Oh,
No, I
I'm
think
like, no,
a ride in the
yes.
Cobra beats the F-15.
Yeah, it does. It does. But in my head, for a slight second, I'm thinking, damn, blah, blah, blah. No, you didn't. Preston, shut up. Shut up, Preston. I'm talking to myself, right?
Yeah.
In my thoughts, I'm like, Preston, shut up. You just spent a birthday with your dad, and you got him a front seat ride. And just seeing my dad smile like that, like, I don't know, it's like Mr. Beast doing stuff like that. It's like, it's a drug, like seeing your friends, like, we just had that shared experience.
Yeah.
And doing that, it's so fun, man. Like, it's so fun to feel that. And instantly when I took off, man, like, you get the goosebumps. You're like, man, it's all worth it. And I texted a couple of pilots, and they're like, oh, that's so cool. I'm so proud that, so happy you got to do that. And I was like, I get why you do this. And she was like, yeah, flying is a drug, I was like, dude, it is, especially something hot, like a hot rod, like a Cobra helicopter, like the view. And that's the thing too. It's like in a Cessna, you're like, oh, I can barely see. Like, dude, this is like a fish tank and you can see everything. And it's like, it was so fun. And just a helicopter sensation is just way different. It's just different. It was really fun, man, and very fortunate. But yeah, I don't think anybody's immune to FOMO or fear of missing out. I don't think anybody's immune to that. It's just that positive self-talk inside, that internal voice, so to speak, and just, hey man, you get to do cool stuff too. You be genuinely happy when other people get the bag or get the spot, or, they network their butt off and they work their butt off,
Yeah.
I do respect that too, like the hustle. Like, I love when I see other creatives are hustling, and I love putting on other creatives that I trust and I bet, but I like seeing other people succeed. Don't you feel better when you're not the only one there? Dude, did you just see that? Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, you're high-fiving each other and you're like, yeah, like, this is awesome. or imagine just doing it by yourself. Like, it wouldn't be as fun. It wouldn't,
Yeah, that's definitely, that is definitely, it's not that much fun by yourself. It's good to share that experience with somebody. Real quick, we just went over, we've been over time for a little bit. I'm glad that Instagram hasn't kicked this off yet. Where can people find your videos, your photos? What's your YouTube? Share it.
Yeah, so my YouTube is just my name, Preston Monoc. All of my stuff is just Preston Monoc, sort of kind of just building like a personal brand, I guess. So the name is all my profiles. Been starting a new YouTube series, behind the scenes. Like I said, interviewing creatives, interviewing pilots, and kind of showing what the air show experience is about, like you as an attendee from that POV, and trying to the people that can't make it, maybe they can't, and they live in a, austere location and they just can't make these things, living vicariously through that. That's huge. Like, that's the biggest support right now is just, even if you don't watch it, I tell people, just stream it, just give me a view, the more it gets out, the more, I want to be motivated. Like, I'm motivated, the more, the reach and the views, like, I want to do this more, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's not about the views, but I'm saying just like sustainability and like thinking about long term. It's like, I want to get this out. I want to show like the energy, like the importance of going to air shows and giving back to the next generation and telling the veteran stories and everything that's interconnected. But yeah, YouTube is huge. Instagram, Preston Monoc. And then I'm on TikTok, Instagram. I'm kind of on X, but not really. But yeah, I post there vaguely. But yeah, YouTube and Instagram are like the biggest platforms that I'm pushing right now, and then TikTok as well. But yep.
More to talk about. But we ran out of time for this show, so I'll have to get you on again. Probably after the show season, because it's crazy. We got a bunch of shows lined up. So I know you told me you have 18 shows for this year to go to and work.
Yeah, it's fluctuated a couple of times. I believe my next. Hold on, I got my list here. I actually have my notes open on my computer here. The next three or four, I got Smyrna in Tennessee, and then I'll be doing Battle Creek in Michigan, and then Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and then I will have Branson. Those are like the next biggest ones, and then I mean further down the line is really far out, but those are my next big shows and everything like that. I'm excited. If you see me out there, come say hi. I definitely get stopped a couple of times. It's like, who is this kid? Like, I don't know. And I'm like, oh, dude, let's get a selfie. You know, like, oh my gosh, like this is great. I actually got stopped at a gas station outside of the air show. Like, are you Preston? It's like, yeah. It's like,
yeah, I'm sure you'll
see.
Weird.
It's weird. I'm like a normal guy that takes like video. Like, it's weird to me, but it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. I get it.
I'm sure you'll see Marvin at Battle Creek.
Yep. So I'll see Marvin at Battle Creek in Milwaukee. I got a lot of huge things planned. I'm excited about both of those. And I want to interview just behind the scenes stuff. Like, what are we doing? Like, you know, like he is a genius. And Marvin's an extremely hard worker. And like, I look up to him a lot as far as like being like top tier creative person. Like, dude can no lights out on photo and like dude can make documentaries, dude. So it's very inspirational, and I feed off that energy, man, you know, like, you know, so, but yeah, I'll definitely see him up there. This will be fun. I'm really excited.
MK16 photo, Mark Kolonowski just said he'd be at Battle Creek also. Is that Battle Creek?
Let's go. We'll see you there. So what?
It says I'll be at BTL also. What is that? Is that Battle Creek also?
I think I would assume that's Battle Creek. Yeah, BTL Battle. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, dude, shout out. Like, man, I want to hang out. I want to, you know, if you see me at the shows, like, you know, having help, you know, an extra hand, hanging out. Again, like I said, hanging out with people that like this just as much as you know, because, like, you know, my parents, they're like, I don't know. You know, families, if they don't like it and they're obsessed, like, it's hard to, it's like, Oscar, why are you going to a million shows? Be like, it's cool. It's like my way of relaxing. So it is cool to have that, again, a shared experience with people. Yeah.
All right, Kyle. Not everyone knows all these northern airport codes, man.
Oh, okay.
I know.
That makes sense.
I know most of the South Florida ones, but that's and maybe the East Coast. Wilmington, I know. All right, Preston, thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for sharing your expertise. You know, we'll definitely have to get you on again so you could give us a second parter. Thanks everyone for joining Spotters Podcast. This is episode 22, and thanks for coming on. Have a good night, everyone.
See ya.